All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you guys for being here at the Miracle Center, and welcome you guys online. And let's go ahead and begin by just taking a couple of minutes and just breathing and being present, allowing your mind to come back home to the present moment. Just close your eyes and take a deep breath. And just allow yourself to be here right now where you are. Just breathe. And let's tune our awareness like a dial on a radio to the frequency and the vibration of this moment now. We're tuning into the present moment, opening our mind to it, allowing our mind to rest in the peace and the comfort and the perfection of this moment now. And just breathe and feel the now. Oops. And just notice what it feels like to have your mind be present now. And we practice bringing our minds out of the past and bringing our minds out of the future and treating this moment now as all there is of time. For indeed, everything that is real and loving and true and helpful and supportive and inspiring and healing is happening right here, right now, and nowhere else. So we practice taking this moment of time and treating it as if that is all there is of time. And allowing ourselves to feel the power and the peace and the joy and the completion and the inspiration and the healing that is always waiting for us right here, right now, within us, offering itself to us completely for free. And we breathe it in, and we thank Creator for it. Thank you, Creator, for putting everything that I need to be happy forever within me, ever renewing, ever present within me now. Thank you, God. Thank you for that. Thank you for creating me complete and whole, lacking nothing, needing nothing to be happy now and forever. Thank you, God. And let us silently together give this time, this healing circle to Spirit, to the healing Spirit that we share. Spirit of truth, we give you this circle of healing today. We thank you for this opportunity to join together, to listen to the truth together, that we might be healed together. Thank you, Spirit of Truth, for this opportunity. Thank you for bringing all of our mighty companions together with us to help us remember that we are not alone. We can't remember that we're not alone. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this space. Thank you for these mighty companions. Thank you for this curriculum that has every answer to everything for free. Thank you. And we give you this time, Spirit of healing. We ask you to decide for healing for us. You know what we need to hear. We ask you to be in charge of this time and this gathering. And we ask you, what would you have us hear today that we might be happy now? Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit of truth. Thank you, Spirit of healing. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, Source. Thank you for having given us everything forever. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. And then when you're ready, just take a breath and come on back. Oh, and then I forgot I need to turn on my Facebook class so that people can watch on Facebook. Let's see. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. Okay, guys, so let me tell you where we're at. Where we're at is we are in the teacher's manual. And we are on question number 8. All right, so question number 8 in the teacher's manual. And it is titled, How Can Perception of Orders of Difficulty in Healing Be Avoided? Okay, now I titled this class, let me see where I wrote it down. Let me see where it is. How to avoid making miracle exceptions. How to avoid making miracle exceptions. Okay. Our problems are where we are making a miracle exception, where we're like, miracles are true for everyone and everything except for this. That's what our problems are. The Course in Miracles says any problem you have is where you've been making an exception in applying the truth. Well, like, yes, I know I'm supposed to love everyone and everything. Only love is real, except for this person right here who did you know what to me. Okay. So all of our problems, the Course in Miracles says, you have never given a problem to Spirit that Spirit has not solved for you. And you have never kept a problem for yourself to solve and gotten the solution. He says, isn't it time you brought these two facts together and made sense of them? So anywhere you still have a problem or a conflict or a lack or a pain or a suffering or anything, that is where you have been trying to solve it yourself. And you have been keeping that problem to yourself to solve. You have not been bringing it to truth. You did not apply the truth to it. And that's why you still have that problem. That's what A Course in Miracles says, not me. So that's what the Course says about our problems. I still have this problem because I'm trying to solve it myself in my own way. But I'm the one who made the problem. So how could the answer and the solution to the problem come from me? Okay, so we're going to talk today about how to avoid making miracle exceptions, and how to, I love the title, how can perception of orders of difficulty in miracles be avoided? Okay, the first principle miracle, the first miracle principle in the book is there's no order of difficulty in miracles. That's the first principle in the entire curriculum. There's no order of difficulty in miracles. One miracle is not harder or bigger or more difficult than another miracle. They're all the same. That is the Number one, first principle in the entire curriculum. That's how this curriculum starts. Right? So that means that if one problem seems more difficult or bigger or harder or more difficult than another problem, it's because I am perceiving an order of difficulty in healing, in miracles that does not exist. I am making that order of difficulty in miracles up. I'm making it up. And so the lesson here is how to stop doing that. How to stop doing that, how to go, this problem is like this problem is like this problem. The only difference in this problem and this problem is the form. That's it. The Course in Miracles says the only thing that is different about all of our problems is the form. That's it. Because all of our problems and content is all the same. All my problems are the same, the Course says. The only thing different about my problems is the form. The only thing different about my problems and your problems is the form. That's it. You know, but the Course in Miracles says we only have one problem, but it was a doozy. We only have one problem, the Course in Miracles tells us. And every single manifestation of a problem or a suffering or difficulty is a manifestation of the one original problem. And the Course in Miracles tells us that that one problem is we think we're separate, which means we think we're different. We think we're different from God. We think we're different from each other. We think we're different from animals. We think we're different from the trees. We think we're different from each other, you know, and that's our problem, the Course in Miracles says. Now, if you know what the only one problem is, and you realize that everything is just a manifestation of that one problem, then how could problems be difficult and how could problems be different? If you know there's only one problem, it's all the same problem. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Does that sound practical? Does anybody have any problems?
Just one.
Good answer. Good answer. That's a right answer.
You said just one.
Have you noticed the world seeming to have any problems?
No.
Does the world seem like going to another level of insanity, or is that just my imagination right now?
It has your been.
It's your magic.
Don't make me laugh while I'm drinking blue water.
Blue water's fine.
Nick, don't do that.
It's a blue match,
No, but remember I told you I have chronic matching disorder. So I just couldn't help myself, but I always drink blue water. So.
Not as much as I blue.
Oh, really? You think she has it bad worse than me? Oh, I'm gonna have to match off with her.
And a shoe, everything.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to match off with her. Okay, so we'll see about that. All right, so let's talk about how can perception of orders of difficulty in healing be avoided. Let's talk about that. So it says, the belief in orders of difficulty is the basis for the world's perceptions. Everybody see where we're at? Number 8 in the teacher's manual.
1,590.
It's in that,
It's just the first one.
maybe only have the first part.
Yeah, some books don't have all 3 books in them.
It's less than 8. I've never seen teachers 8.
Okay, so it says,
They were all the same.
and then you guys have got it right here. You got it right there. Okay, good. And Carla, did you see me on Facebook?
I did.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Just check that.
And you guys, if you're watching online and you're watching on Facebook, I'm sorry I didn't turn on my Facebook until after the guided meditation. So if you want the guided meditation, go back later and you can have
Watch
that
it on YouTube.
and watch it on YouTube. And watch on YouTube because it's not on Facebook. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. The belief in orders of difficulty is the basis for the world's perception. So everything is more difficult than the next thing. And that's what it seems like in the world. It's like one thing seems to be more difficult, then there's always something more difficult every day. What's going to be today? That's the basis for the world's perception. And that's because the world's perception rests on differences. The world's perception rests on differences. Okay. We're different because of what I'm perceiving. That's all it says. Why is that? So the world's perception rests on differences. What is differences? You know, uneven backgrounds, shifting foregrounds, unequal heights, diverse sizes, varying degrees of darkness and light, and thousands of contrasts in which each thing seen competes with every other in order to be recognized. For instance, in the world's perception, a larger object overshadows a smaller object. A brighter thing draws the attention from another thing with less intensity of appeal. And a more threatening idea, or an idea conceived of as more desirable by the world's standards, completely upsets the mental balance. What the body's eyes behold is only conflict. Wow, that's all the body's eyes see is differences, that conflict. That's all the body's eyes see. Differences, that conflict. Okay? And differences that make things seem to be different. That's all the body's eyes see. Isn't that interesting? And so don't look to your body's eyes for peace and understanding. If you want understanding, you're going to have to not use your body's eyes. You're going to have to not use the sight that your body is showing you, because the sight your eyes are showing you is only differences, that conflict. That's all you're going to see with your body's eyes, with your body's ears, with your body's touch, right? All the senses. That's all it reports. That's all your body senses report. So if you want to have peace and understanding, because you've suffered enough, then you have to allow your awareness to go beyond what your body senses are reporting.
Are you saying I don't want understanding because I haven't had enough yet?
I didn't say that, but thank you for saying that. Thank you. That's the kind of help I need. You say it. Okay. And then paragraph 2, it says, illusions are always illusions of differences. What's an illusion? This is different from that. Okay. And now, and differences that our body's eyes report. So, and how could it be otherwise? By definition, an illusion is an attempt to make something real that is regarded as of major importance, but it is recognized as being untrue. So it's a great definition of what an illusion is. It's something I want to be true that's not true. Okay, and that's what an illusion is. And what is it that I want to be true that's not true? We're different because we look different. And this situation is different because it looks different than that situation. And we're different because we look different. That's what I want to be true that is not true. And it's only illusions that produce suffering. So my suffering is coming from me wanting something to be true that's not true. Like, we're different. You know, one of my favorite ways of being different is, I would never do that.
Right.
Okay. All right. There's an illusion for you. I would never do that, or I've never done that. Well, I just can't understand why they would do that. Okay. That is me wanting differences to be true that are not true, that are making me suffer. In the moment I go, we're the same. We're both the same. We're both making the exact same mistake, and we're both exactly the same, innocent and guiltless also. We're the same. We're the same in the mistake we're making, and we're mistaken in our guiltlessness. And we're both the same that we don't know about our guiltlessness. We're the same. We're one. We may have unique expressions of our sameness, but we are the same. It's the same as saying we're one. So we're making the same mistake, just a different form. And we're also the same in how we're guiltless but don't know it. We're the same. Okay. Uh-huh. I know, I feel the same.
I would never do that.
I would never do that.
Well,
Well, because you make the problem different.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And you think about it, you think about it, yeah, you think about it, that is the basis of all of our judgments. You know, if you knew that you were the same, if you knew you were making the same mistake and you knew that you were also the same in that you're guiltless, but you don't know it, just like them, then what would happen to your judgments?
Yeah.
You-
Every conflict, it seems like I have a judgment on someone else.
Mhm.
Really a judgment on myself.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And I realized the only reason why I'm upset is because my ego thinks that they made me lesser.
Yes.
And I realized that I can't be made less.
Yes. Mhm.
And they're acting out of illusion the same way I am.
That's right.
That's every single problem.
That's the basis of every judgment and every problem is that, you know, that we're making a different error, you know, and that, you know, that what they're doing is making me less or more than them. Somehow different. You know, the beginning of every grievance is where one or both decide that they're somehow different from each other. You know, and the Course in Miracles tells us when you don't identify with the child of God, you will attack the child of God. You know, anybody who you don't identify with, you think that they're different from you, whether you think they're better or worse than you, you're going to attack them. And if they think they're different from you, meaning not equal, then they're going to attack you. You know, and very often, you know, the way people make us different is they're like, oh, you're so much greater than me. And then you get to know each other and then they're like, you are so much worse than me. Right. Because if somebody doesn't see themselves as your equal, they're going to attack you. You know, it may start off as, oh, you're so much better. Oh, and that feels great. But it's going to switch real soon to, no, you're worse than I am.
That's right.
That's the way it goes. You know, if somebody doesn't identify with you, see themselves as equal with you, it may start off as they're like, you're so wonderful, you're so great, but it's not going to stay like that for long. So that's why illusions and suffering and conflict are always illusions of differences, which also can mean, in this case, inequality. We're not equal. We're not equal. If I'm different, and the Course in Miracles says that if you see if you see someone as unequal to you and different from you, then you are going to see them as an enemy. Because now you're going to say, well, I can't trust you because we're different. I don't know what you might do. You know, so truly the basis of all illusions, all problems, all conflict, all suffering comes down to the lie of differences. And at any situation, any person, you could say, we are just alike. We're both wrong and we're both innocent and don't know it. That's literally, you could come right down to your perfect equality with everybody with that one statement of truth.
The universal group of wrong and innocent.
Exactly. We're all the same. Look, you're here, I'm here. Okay. That means you're innocent and we're both innocent. We don't know it. And we're the same. We're both innocent and we don't know it. And we're both crazy because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that just brings you to immediate equality, which does what? It ends the problem. It ends the one problem that's based on differences, which is inequality. Wow. Well, okay. Moving right along. Any questions?
Yeah.
Just
Oh, thank you. I can't see you back there.
with this
So we're innocent because we're acting from a place of illusion and not malice on accident.
Yes, great question. We're innocent, which means guiltless because that's the way we were created. And according to A Course in Miracles, you can't change the way you were created to be. And God creates only like God is, which is guiltless, which is innocent, no sin. And so that is the essential truth of every creation, no matter what they have done or think that has happened. That is the essential truth about every creation, anything and everything that has been created by God. So that is all of our essential truths. And the only reason we're not manifesting perfect love that comes from that awareness is because we don't know it. Or we've heard it, but we don't believe it yet. Okay, so all of our truth is the same and one. And it's also true that we don't accept that fully yet. And people seem to be in different places on their spiritual path according to what degree they have accepted that yet. And some people are at the beginning where they're like, oh, not me. I'm not guiltless. And some people are like, well, okay, I mean, I like that idea. And, you know, I'm going to see if it's true. I'm going to use it and see if it's true. And some people really have accepted that they are as guiltless as they were created. And so is everybody else. So great question. Thanks for asking that. Okay. So now we are in, are we in 3? No, we're not. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes, we're in paragraph 2 and we're sentence 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so an illusion is where I want something to be true that's not true. Okay, now when I want something to be true that's not true, like differences, then my mind's got to seek to make that illusion true, those differences true, out of my mind's intensity of its desire to have the differences for itself. So that's what our mind is doing when my mind wants the differences to be true that are not true. The intensity of my desire for these differences to be true makes it appear true for me. Right. So I really want the differences between me and Hitler to be true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anybody else got any other examples? Everybody wakes up. You know, and so, and wherever it is that I want the lie that I'm different from somebody to be true, that's where I'm hurting myself. You know, I'm not like that person. I'm not like them. How dare you? Okay, great. You just made another illusion of suffering for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope it was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get someone to agree with it,
Oh, right. Then you just double your suffering.
You get someone to agree.
2 suffering for 1.
Somebody else to agree with you.
Yeah, I'll call people to try to validate that BS in this weird, crazy way.
Yeah, I know.
Will that agree with you?
I know. Thinking deludedly that the more who agree with your misperception, that the truer that it is.
In the field of psychology, we call that ally building.
Ally building, exactly. And then right here, we would call it doubling your illusions, doubling your suffering. All right, now you get 2 suffering for 1.
they get the Renaissance.
What a deal. What a deal. All right.
It's like we're seeking for truth. It's a natural state. It's a natural pull.
Yes.
And yet the mind thinks that seeking agreement
Mm-hmm.
and is the same. It's like a harmonic of this.
Very good.
There's this
Yes.
seeking will always take place.
Yes, exactly.
What are we deciding?
Very
Can we
good.
Agree on illusions,
Mhm.
or are we fundamentally searching for what is the essence of everything?
Exactly. It's very profound. We're all seeking for truth and we're all seeking for joining. And so, but we've learned that the ego teaches us that anger makes friends. You know, that you can only, the ego is always like, yeah, when you get other people to agree with you on how you're different, then you're joining and you're seeking truth, you know. But really, that's not joining and it's not truth. It's further separating. It's like Carla said, it's just building alliances, which is not joining, you know. It's like there's an alliance between my ego and my body, but that ain't friendship. That ain't joining. That's just one entity using another for its own selfish purposes, you know. And if you're seeking to join somebody else in a lie, in an illusion, you're just using that person. Your ego is using that person to make itself bigger, seem real. But that's not loving. That's not joining. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So it says illusions of differences are travesties of creation, just like you were saying. Illusions are travesties of creation. Illusions are attempts to bring truth to lies. That's what an illusion is. I'm trying to bring truth to this lie of how I'm different from them. Okay. Now, it says, finding truth unacceptable, the mind revolts against truth and gives itself an illusion of victory. Woo. Wow. When your mind is seeking illusions and wants lies to be true, your mind is finding truth unacceptable and revolting against truth. That's what your mind is doing when you want differences to be true and you're trying to make them true. I would never do that. I would never say that. I'm not like them. Okay. That's your mind revolting against the truth. Wow. And then I get to experience something that's revolting to me, like conflict, like suffering, like lack. All right. So then it says, finding health a burden, your mind is retreating into feverish dreams when you want lies of differences to be true. And in these dreams of differences, in these feverish dreams, your mind is separate, different from other minds, with different interests of its own, and your mind seems to be able to gratify its needs at the expense of others. So we were talking about joining in illusions is not real joining. You're using that other mind to gratify your own needs at the expense of another. So that's what I'm doing when I'm trying to get somebody to agree with me in my judgment of somebody else.
So
that's revolting.
If I get an alliance with you on an issue, then I'm actually abusing you.
That's right. That's exactly right. You're using me, my mind, to gratify your own needs at the expense of my mind. Ooh, that's revolting. That's disgusting. It did say revolting, but it said revolt. I added the revolting part. Wow, that is not joining. That is not, friends don't let friends see differences. Friends don't let friends make differences seem real. Don't agree with somebody when they're like, I can't believe it. I would never do that. What is blah, blah, blah. I'm different. I'm not like them. Mm-hmm. Friends don't let friends do that. It's not loving. All right. Okay.
The mind has been polluted with the belief that I'm separate self.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's a belief. The mind is when it's free of the belief of a separate self, it'll naturally let go and return.
That's right.
To the source.
That's exactly right.
It's an illusion.
That's right. Because remember it said, illusions are a feverish dream where your mind is separate from other minds.
It's strictly a belief.
It's a belief.
And we're conditioned to it. We have to build our self-confidence.
Yes,
You have to, everything is geared towards a separate self.
absolutely.
And it reinforces that belief.
That's right.
And so that section of the mind that's separated off because of that belief is stuck.
Is now sick. Is now going that mind is going to retreat into feverish dreams. Now that mind is not going to experience health. Now that mind finds truth unacceptable, and it's going to revolt against truth. Now that mind is going to find health a burden, and now that mind is going to retreat into feverish dreams. And just in order for that mind to believe that it is separate from other minds. Wow. And so that's why the one problem is separation, and the one answer to every problem, which is the same, is the understanding of the fact that minds are not separate. Mind is one. That's a fact. That's just a fact. And until you accept that fact and act on that fact, you will suffer. You will suffer all the consequences and all the symptoms and all the pain that separated minds experience in a dream. You're going to suffer, but your suffering will be in a dream, because you only suffer when you're dreaming. And dreaming is where you're revolting against the truth. I'm in revolt. I'm protesting against truth. I'm going to the truth protest. I'm protesting against truth. Truth says I'm like them, and I say, hell no. See my little sign where I'm revolting against truth, saying, hell no, I'm not one. Hell no, we're not one. I'm not one with them. And then you have a picture of their face. Yes, exactly. Let's just go with Hitler, you know. No, you never hear anybody say, well, I'm one with Hitler too. You never hear anybody say that. We all have our special people that we want to lie to ourselves that we're different from them and better than them, that we like to use to make ourselves suffer. We all have those special folks. Course in Miracles calls it a special relationship.
And that misconception is why we're innocent.
That's right, because we're just wrong. We're not guilty, we're just wrong.
It's just a misperception.
And how could you be guilty if every single person on earth is wrong just exactly the same way you are? Could you really be guilty for being wrong?
Right.
Could they be guilty for, could they're wrong just exactly the way you are? Or could they be guilty? So that's why that literally the answer to everything is the realization that differences are not real. God did not create a bunch of different things. God did not create a bunch of different people. God's not insane. It's like, he's not. He sure sounds insane the way we learned about him. The way we learned about God, he's a psychopath. He is murderous. He's jealous. He's possessive.
And spiteful.
He's spiteful. He's mean.
And he needs money.
And he needs a lot of money. Poor God. He's so pitiful. He needs money all the time. He's so jealous and possessive. He's so insecure. I wonder what that sounds like.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's no connection there. Okay. So then now we're in paragraph 3. Where do all these differences come from? All these differences between us that we think are so real, that justify our judgments, that make us suffer. Where do all these differences come from? Well, certainly these differences seem to be in the world outside. Yet it is surely the mind that judges what the eyes behold. It is surely the mind that's judging what our eyes see. And so it is the mind that interprets the eye's messages and gives these messages, the eye's report, meaning. And the meaning that the mind interprets about what the eyes see, this meaning does not exist in the world outside at all. The meaning our mind gives to what we see in the world outside does not exist in the world at all. What we see through our eyes does not exist in the world at all. Wow. What I see in the world, all the differences I see, does not actually exist in the world. What I see in the world exists only in my mind, because it's my mind who's interpreting the messages that my eyes report, that my eyes see. Isn't that deep? That's why the Course in Miracles says, your body's eyes don't see. Your body's eyes are blind. So whatever you see is not coming through your eyes, it's coming through your mind. My mind is saying, I'm seeing a body, I'm seeing Todd, I'm seeing he's wearing a red shirt. That is coming from, that's my mind's interpretation. Wow. What I see in the world is not coming from the world. Isn't that deep? Yeah, but, yeah, but what about, okay, what would happen to your judgments if you recognize that whatever you're seeing in the world is not coming from the world? Well, for one thing, you would talk a lot less. You'd be like, I don't want to open my mouth because I'll reveal what's in my mind. I don't want to say anything because people will then know what's in my mind. If everybody knew that perception is projection, I would never talk unless I was saying something loving. If everybody knew, like I know perception is projection, so now when I hear people's perceptions, I know I'm hearing what's in their mind, right? But I'm glad that most people don't know that, so that when I speak, they don't know I'm projecting. Wow. Isn't that deep? Now that makes you take full responsibility for whatever you're seeing, and it also makes you talk a lot less. Yes.
What's the point of eyesight then?
Yes, the Course in Miracles says that the original purpose of eyesight was for not seeing, so that you could be blind. That's the original purpose of the body, so that you won't see the truth, you won't hear the truth, you won't touch the truth. That's the purpose originally of the body, the eyes, all the senses. But the Course in Miracles says that whatever you've made, that spirit can transform its purpose into being something whose purpose is to perceive and experience the truth, reality. So the original purpose was to not see. It literally said these eyes were made not to see. And then the Course says that we trust what our senses report to the last detail is weird.
Right.
You go, that's crazy. We trust what our senses report to us to the last detail. Like, well, I saw what happened, so I know what happened because I saw what happened. Okay. Well, I know what happened because I heard what they said. I saw what they did. I know what happened. We believe what our senses report to the last detail. And we never go, I wonder if I'm misperceiving that. We never, ever go, I wonder if I'm misperceiving that. We never do that until we've suffered enough. And then we go, I wonder if I'm seeing this correctly because my perception of this is really hurting me and it's really frightening me.
And I hope I'm seeing this wrong.
And then, thank you. And then once you get in the Course, you're like, I hope I'm seeing this wrong. And that's your liberation.
Then you realize you see everything wrong.
And that's your greater liberation. Then you fly. When you go, I hope I'm seeing this wrong. And then you realize, oh crap, I'm seeing everything wrong. Now you're free. Now you're free. Now you're free. Wow. Okay, so that's the thing that we want to say. If we're going through something right now that we are suffering or unhappy or feeling guilty or ashamed or broke or sick or whatever, anything that's not happy and joyful, free and abundant, we want to say to ourselves, the first thing you want to say to yourself is, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I would like another way of seeing this. And what can I lose by asking? I'm already suffering. That's the first thing you want to say to yourself to begin your liberation from that suffering. I hope I'm seeing this wrong. I would like another way of looking at this. What can I lose by asking?
That's the letting go of that mind.
And that's the letting go of the whole belief system that the mind is separate. The whole belief system that says the mind is separate. And the Course in Miracles calls the Holy Spirit, the loving right mind, the great corrector of perception. And as soon as you say those words that seem magical, the great corrector of perception is like, okay, here you go. Here's a correct perception. And then you get this correct perception and you notice you feel really good. You notice you're not suffering anymore. And you're like, I wonder if there's a connection between that loving perception and the good feeling that I'm having. I wonder if there's a connection.
Joy and peace and love returns.
Exactly.
Native state.
Exactly. Every time I realize I'm wrong, I get happier. I wonder if there's a connection there. Every time I say, I hope I'm wrong when I'm unhappy, I notice I get happier. I wonder if there's a connection. It's like that. Remember that? Anybody see that Seinfeld episode where, I forget his name, where he's like the bumbling fool. And one day he goes, you know what? Today I'm going to do everything exactly the opposite of everything that I would normally say and do. And then all of a sudden, all his dreams were coming true. I forget that character's name, but I just thought, it wasn't Kramer. George Costanza. He goes, I'm going to do everything different than I ever do. And then all of a sudden he was like getting dates and he was getting money and he was getting the job. And he was like, Well, that's what we're learning. Exactly. That if we're unhappy, if we're angry, upset, broke, sick, anything like that, it means that we're wrong. It means that we are believing what's not true. And we're wanting what's not true to be true with the intensity of our desire that it be true. That's what's going on. And we're wrong. We want something that's not true to be true, and we're desiring it intensely, and that's why we're suffering. And as soon as we go, I really hope I'm wrong about this because I do not like the way I feel, then it shifts.
Is that like the origin of anger?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Anger is a projection. Anger is the desire that something that's not true be true with an intense desire.
Yeah.
The Course in Miracles says anger is projection. Can you believe that? I mean, come on. When I'm angry, if somebody tells me that when I'm angry, I want to punch them in the face. Tell me, my anger is not a projection. I'm seeing correctly. I would be angry if I wasn't seeing correctly. Well, actually, yeah, you can only be angry if you're not seeing correctly.
Yeah.
Because if you were seeing correctly, you would realize there's nothing to fear. There is no loss. There is no sin. That's what you'd be seeing if you were seeing correctly, and you'd be only happy.
Oh, man,
Yes. Please, come on, give me some yes buts. Come on. I know you got some. I have them.
how do you handle the extremes of murders and rapists? And I mean, you see it all the how do you handle that that's not receiving that correctly?
Yeah.
But like, they murdered him, didn't they? I don't, I mean, I'm really lost on that.
Yes, well, I mean, yeah, honestly, okay, so you're asking, how do you not get angry when you see a murder? How could you not be seeing correctly when you see a murder? Yeah, and how could you not be angry when you see a murder? And how could you not be seeing that correctly? Well, that's right, because the truth of the matter, the actual truth of the matter is that that person can't be killed. That's a correct perception.
Correct perception.
That's a correct perception, is that person cannot be killed.
But then do they take responsibility? I mean, when do you start taking responsibility for what you do?
They will because karma, you know, they will come back as somebody who was either being murdered or somebody they love is murdered. So they'll come back around to get to experience it from the other side, only to learn, oh, we're one. Oh, I see. You can't kill a child of God.
It's eventual.
So exactly, nobody gets away with their illusions. Nobody gets away with that person's full of illusions and they just seem to get richer and happier. That doesn't happen. You know, everybody suffers. Whoever is wrong in their perception suffers. Nobody gets away with it. Meaning everybody continually gets opportunities to have their perceptions corrected. That is true for everybody. And as long as there's anybody who needs perceptual correction, that's how long time will last.
Can I say something?
Yes, you may.
I think another way to look at it, to remove separation, is like, if I let myself go and kept doing drugs and went down this black path, I could see myself doing those things too.
Very good. And thank you. And another way to, exactly.
As scary as that is,
Absolutely.
it's true.
Absolutely. And the Course in Miracles says that, you know, that another set of differences that we see is we go, there's a difference between mild irritation and rage and murder. That's another differences that are illusionary, you know. Well, I didn't want to murder them. I was just irritated with them. The Course in Miracles is like, that ain't no difference. You know, the Course in Miracles says that, so if that's true, if what the Course in Miracles is saying is true, then we've all had murderous thoughts. And come on, anybody in this room never had a murderous thought?
No.
Anybody in this room ever not wish that somebody would die?
Right.
Anybody?
I hit it right on the head.
Any liars in the room?
Who are you listening today?
Oh, really? In the last 30 minutes, anybody?
See, I want to bring something up and I feel safe in the class. I mean, I actually did earlier on in my life want someone to die.
Yes,
I just want them out of my life.
yes,
I don't care if they died. I hope they would die.
yes.
And guess what? My son later was killed in a plane accident. And that was the worst, of course. And I'm like, wow, I rethought that a lot later. I'm just saying,
Mhm.
I wouldn't share this. People who don't even know I've ever thought this, but I feel safe here.
Mhm.
And I thought, gee, Jewel, that is karma, and you gotta think this through a little more.
Mhm. Yes,
I was really like, wow.
yeah,
Well, now, of course, I don't want the death of that person. That person's still in my life.
yes,
But I
right,
go, why did I think I had any power to take that person out anyway?
right, exactly.
For a long time, and that, I think, was karma. Part of it, going back around saying, okay,
Yes,
you're still believing this.
yes.
It's
Yes.
a tough one.
But thank you for sharing that. Thank you for trusting us.
Yeah, don't tell anyone.
Yeah. Since we just all admitted,
No, I've ever.
yes, we all just admitted that we all have had murderous thoughts. We've all wished somebody would die. Come on. And like Janice is like, oh, you mean like today? And then Carla goes, you mean in the last 30 minutes?
Well, this is.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know.
Yeah.
So yes, Carla.
So really, what I'm hearing you say is that the only distinctions are, am I choosing joining or am I choosing separation?
That's right.
And if I'm choosing separation, it doesn't matter what label, what picture, whatever I put on it, separation is the same across the board.
That's exactly right. And separation means murder. And you don't come here to a world where everything dies and everything lives off the death of something else without having a wish to murder. That's, how do you think this world came to be?
I want to murder God.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, this dream of this planet where everything lives off the death of something else and everything dies here, that this is the result of a wish to murder and a wish to murder God. That's where the body came from. That's where the separation happened. We wanted to kick God off the throne, which is just a metaphor for killing God and putting ourselves on the throne of God. So this is the result of a murderous wish. So nobody should be embarrassed or ashamed of having murderous thoughts. This is, we're all having murderous thoughts. That's how you get here. That's your ticket in. People who don't have murderous thoughts don't come here. They go somewhere else. And wherever that is, that's where I want to go next. Who wants to go with me? I do.
Well, I did, but I had a question.
Okay.
I have a question, but I didn't want to go with you.
Okay.
So, but I think what's happening on the planet, I'm trying really, really hard not to watch any news, get involved in anything, because I feel so incredibly separate. And I feel so incredibly at a loss. Like right now, my world is very full of personal, crazy things. So I'm just having a hard time like thinking, how do I digest this? I want to leave this country. I want to pack up, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
And so then I try to go back to the Course in Miracles and say, okay, okay now.
Okay. I'm going to try to practice the course.
I'm trying to practice the Course and trying to practice the truth of if I truly am a spiritual being, which I believe, so I can handle all of I feel is being thrown at me, small, medium, and large. And all the cacophony that's going on around me, like I'm having a challenging time not feeling isolated.
I got you.
And alone in this drama and in this personal feeling of hardship, which I know will be fine. I've gone through things before, but I just need help.
Yeah, I got you. Yes.
So yes, I feel separate. Yes,
Yes.
I feel aggravated.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel burned. I feel murderous. I don't think I feel murderous, but I'm very.
You do. You do.
Yeah, I was so irritated about somebody not putting
Right.
the seat down. I'm thinking, should I kill them?
And you're wondering if you have any murderous thoughts. That's funny. Okay, well, let me address that. Okay. The suffering is coming because you think what is happening right now politically is different than what used to be happening politically. And you also think that what's happening here politically is different from what's happening somewhere else in the world politically. And that is an illusion. What's happening here politically and socially and culturally and is the same as what's been happening here before. What's happening now politically. And before that, I mean, honestly, if you really know your history, politically speaking, because that's what you're referring to, it's the same. It is the same. It's massive corruption. It's massive illusion, massive deception, massive usury. Okay. And it's been happening here the same, and it's also happening all over the world. So that's just to speak to the political aspect, but it's the same, in all of it. It says that, what does it say about illusions? It says that they're all the same. So if there's corruption happening, if there's murder happening, if there's whatever, if there's imprisonment going on, it's the same now, before, and everywhere. So, but you're making yourself feel separate as if it's different, as if this is horrible and I should go somewhere else. So, but the truth is that, it's all the same. And And wherever you go, whatever is happening politically, the answer and the resolution and the peace is also all the same. And it's something that you can experience in your mind. Remember what it was saying. What you are seeing in the world is not in the world. What you're seeing in the world is not in the world. I know it seems like it is, but what you're seeing in the world politically, socially, culturally, whatever, it's not in the world. That's what this is saying. It's in your mind. Because remember, what your eyes are seeing it doesn't have anything to do with what your eyes are reporting. Your mind is interpreting the messages that your eyes are seeing. So if you want peace of mind, that's an inside job. That's you accepting the truth for yourself. There's only one mind. We're all the same. We all don't know the truth about ourselves and we're crazy and we're all guiltless. We're all guiltless and we don't know it. We're all the same. And we're all acting crazy out of our not knowing the truth about ourselves. You are, they are, Republicans, Democrats, independents, this country, that country. We all think we're separate and we're acting insanely, which means viciously from that illusion.
Us.
Us and them.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
No one is where he is by accident, and chance plays no part in God's plan. Now, that helped me with my son on a mission. And if you but knew who walked beside you on the way you have chosen, fear would be impossible.
Exactly.
One more. What if you knew all events, past, present, and to come, were gently planned by someone whose only purpose is your good? Those three things have helped me with my son since 14 years ago.
Amen to
I
that.
mean, those are things I say every day in my affirmations plan. No, it doesn't matter who's in control. They still might be giving a chance to spirits we don't know.
That's right. And that's what, when you accept in your mind, you see a different world. The world does not change
It's not really.
by us judging it and going, this is crazy, I'm going to move. The world does not change like that.
Yeah.
It just stays the way it's always been. The world, our experience of the world comes from our mind. So are we telling ourselves the truth like Julie was mentioning? That is what's determining what we see in the world outside. And that's the good news, because that means you could be happy right now. Nothing's got to change. The president doesn't have to change. You don't have to move to another country. Not a damn thing has to change for you to be happy right now. If this is true, if you accept this. So let this be what we put our energy into so that we can be happy no matter what the hell's happening in the world. But thank you for your honest question. I really do appreciate that. Honestly, honest questions are a miracle. Thank you. They are. Yes, hold on.
I think the biggest thing that helped me to understand this is I always thought that my beliefs were the truth.
Yes.
To recognize that just because I believe something is
It
true.
was such a radical concept that, just because I believe it doesn't mean it's true. What? That's radical.
Yeah.
That's radical. Yes, Trudy.
What I'm studying 189, and it is a practice for this very concept and these very principles that you're putting forth. And then the joy comes with 190, and it's like, wow,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, yeah. The whole workbook is about changing our perception in our mind, choosing what we want to think differently so that we can see something differently in the world. That's what the entire workbook is about. How to change your mind so that you can see a different world. And that's what I'm all about. I don't want to see the world as a prison planet anymore. That's the way I see the world, but that does not make me happy. It makes me feel terrible. I feel terrible about the way I see the world most of the time. And so, but that's what motivates me to change my mind about myself and everyone and everything, starting with, there's only one mind that we share. We're not different. We share one mind, starting with that, so that I can see the world not as a prison planet and suffer because of that, but so I can see the world as nothing but all my best and favorite friends who are happy to see me and I'm happy to see them. That's the way I want to see the world. So.
Be pretty proud with all those people in the same mind.
Thank you, Jerry. All right. Okay. So great. We still have a little bit of time. Can you believe it? Normally when I look down, it's like way past when I thought it would be. All right. And you guys, great questions and comments. I'm telling you, we learn together. We learn together, or we don't learn at all. So, okay. So and it says, let's see where we're at. Does anybody know where we're at? I think we're 4. Okay.
Doesn't matter, it's all the same.
Thank you. I can always count on you to bring the truth right back to me. Okay. Paragraph 4. It is in the sorting out and categorizing activities of the mind that errors in perception enter. And it is here in the categorizing activities of the mind that correction must be made. So all the categories we make, good, bad, right, wrong, male, female, all those categories, it says it's there that the correction must be made in our mind. The mind classifies what the body's eyes bring to it, the mind, according to the mind's preconceived values. In other words, then the mind judges where each sense datum fits best. So our eyes see sense data. That's what our eyes and our senses, sensation data. And then the mind interprets all that data. Okay. So the eyes aren't seeing, but the eyes are reporting, but the mind interprets and puts it together. Okay. According to what? The mind's preconceived values. So what do I see through my eyes and my senses?
Whatever I believe.
Whatever I believe. Seeing is believing. You see what you believe.
Yeah. We don't see the world the way it is, we see it the way we are.
Thank you. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we believe we are. Now, if we saw the world as we really are, then we'd only be happy all the time, but we're seeing the world according to what we believe we are. Like, for starters, do you believe that you're separate? Do you believe you're guilty? Well, if that's what you believe about yourself, because that's what you learned, then that is what you are going to see with your senses. That is so deep. Talk about radical responsibility, and I mean radical. I don't know of any other curriculum that does this depth level of radical responsibility. Do you?
Yeah, you just gotta make yourself think these thoughts.
Oh, absolutely. The Course in Miracles says forgiveness, which is correct perception, is acquired. Correct perception is acquired. You don't come here learning correct perception. Did anybody from birth learn that you are not a body and you're completely guiltless?
No.
Anybody? Yeah. Correct perception is acquired. And that's what we're doing. And that's why we are the saviors of the world. Did you know you were the saviors of the world? Who knew that you would be a superhero savior of the world someday?
The poor,
The meek shall.
it doesn't pay.
No, that's right. Exactly.
I had to be up to them to me.
Oh, for being the superhero savior of the world. Well, actually, the benefit packages really is the best of all. Being a superhero savior of the world, the benefit packages are the best of any job anywhere. Just say it. Starting with peace of mind.
And it's a $30 fee.
It's a very low premium.
It's not arrogance.
No, it's not arrogance at all.
It's not an independent self.
Not at all.
It's the letting go of all the misconceptions that allow that saving of the world to take place, that we're what we think we create. So we're undoing all the misconceptions
Yes.
that are contributing to that.
That's right, exactly. I mean, if the world is suffering for lack of knowledge, then whoever it is who is trying to accept knowledge, well, that makes you the savior of the world.
Because that one
Because-
function,
Yeah, because that makes you the one who has the truth that people are literally dying for. The world is dying for lack of truth. But if you are working on accepting truth, that makes you the savior of the world. That makes you really special to the world. And if you knew how needed you were by the planet, you would never, ever question your value again. You would never be like, what's my worth? What's my value? If you knew how desperately the world needs you and the truth that you are trying to accept for yourself. You'd never have self-doubt again. You'd never struggle with self-worth ever again, because you know that you have and you are trying to accept the thing that the people are dying for. That people need more than anything here.
Well, I think this is kind of spilling over too, because, I've decreased my news watching.
Me too.
But when I do see it, there are more and more protests out. And unlike the protests in Vietnam, you didn't see grandmas and grandpas out there protesting.
Right.
That would be very rare. It was, kids who were being affected. But now it's just across the board. People, the infants and toddlers and baby carriages, and, all the way up to, elderly people. But they're out there protesting the cruelty, protesting the unfairness. I mean, nobody's out there protesting, let's send some more people off into oblivion. So it's spreading, and they're necessarily not being spiritual about it, but they're reacting to that cruelty. And I can't help but think that this is part of a reckoning of, spiritually, okay, let's figure it out. Which way is this planet going to go?
Yeah, there is, the Course says there is a great awakening occurring.
And there's a plan.
Yeah, there is a great awakening happening. The Course also calls it the celestial speed up. There is a plan for the awakening and healing of mankind that is underway, and we are the agents of it. We are the ministers of it right here. Everybody who is studying this curriculum, anybody who is trying to be loving and to accept our oneness as humanity, they are ministers of this great awakening.
I got a butt question. Okay.
All right. Yes, but.
Okay, if I can't trust my eyes or my beliefs,
Okay.
how do I navigate the world?
Very good.
How do I navigate?
Right, exactly. You find a source of truth that says that there is no sin and only love is real, and you follow it. And you contrast whatever you believe and see to this universal truth. That's what you do.
the money becomes more loving and compassionate.
Exactly.
I start questioning it and breaking it down slowly until I'm left with nothing but truth.
Yes, exactly. The Course in Miracles would say that you bring everything that you see and everything that you believe to the truth that says we are one and there is no sin. And whatever you bring to truth that's not true disappears.
Oh, man.
Okay.
So that's what happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of helpful affirmations in the course, just like Julie was referring to, that are right on point with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just gotta pick your favorites
And use them.
and use it.
And use them.
Maybe you're only here to be helpful, that's,
Yeah.
that's not
It's only the whole book.
here to be helpful.
It's only the whole book.
Pick one.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's that day.
Exactly.
Sometimes I'll do the random page generate.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's the purpose of the workbook. The workbook's purpose is to do exactly that, and to have you do it on a daily basis and all day long. So the workbook gives you the means by which to do that every day and all day long. So, okay, but great question. A really beautiful question, truly. Okay, so we're gonna shortly, I think we'll do maybe one more paragraph and then we'll stop. So they were saying that the mind's sorting out and categorizing activities is where the errors of the mind arise. And the mind classifies what the body's eyes bring to it according to the mind's preconceived values. The mind judges where each sense datum fits best. What basis could be faultier than this? My mind is just whatever fits what my mind believes my mind accepts. Like, hello, what basis for perception could be faultier than this? You know, in other words, the basis for perception is faulty. The Course in Miracles says that there's no greater falsity than perception. You know, perception is based on you only see what your mind believes. Come on. No, so how could you trust perception? So then it says, unrecognized by itself, the mind has itself asked to be given what will fit into the categories of what the mind believes. And having been given only the sense data that fit what the mind believes, now the mind concludes that the mind's categories must be true. So the mind's like, I only want the perceptual data that fits what I believe. And then the mind gets that perceptual data, and then the mind goes, see, see, it's true. I'm right. No, you're not right. You just only saw what you wanted to see. But we're like, oh, see, I'm seeing what I believe. See, it must be true. He says, what basis for perception could be faultier than that? It's like that thing, like you were saying, I always thought that if I believed it, it must be true. You know, whereas really it's like, no, you only see what you believe. But that don't mean it's true. And here we are suffering because of something that's not even true. And to me, that's just really crazy. It's like, well, I don't want to suffer for nothing, but that's what we're doing. We're suffering for nothing. We're suffering over something that's not even true. And then our suffering continues because we're unwilling to question it. But when your perception is producing something besides peace and joy, that's when you need to question it. Because if your perception is showing you something you're not happy about, that's how you know that what you're seeing and your interpretation is wrong. And then when you finally decide you want to be happy, you'll be glad about that. You'll be like, I'm so glad I'm wrong about that. I sure hope I'm wrong about that. Okay. So we're learning how to question our perceptions, realizing where perception really comes from. Okay. Then it says, on this kind of judgment that we're talking about, on this judgment of all differences rests. On this, the judgment of all differences rests, because it's on this the judgment of the world depend. Can this confused and senseless so-called reasoning be depended on for anything? Can your confused and what do you call my perception? What did you just call our perception? Confused and senseless so-called logic. That's our perception. He just called our perception confused and senseless. Maybe didn't want me to hear it. Confused and senseless. And he's saying, are you going to continue to depend on your confused and senseless perception? And I know my perception is confused and senseless because I'm very unhappy with what I'm seeing, which really means how my mind's interpreting what I'm seeing. You know, and he's asking, can that perception that's so confused and senseless really be depended on for anything? So are you really going to trust your perceptions? You know, given that your perceptions literally only go according to your beliefs, which obviously are wrong because you're not happy. Are you really going to depend on what your eyes see, what your ears hear so implicitly? Are you really going to trust what you're seeing and hearing without ever questioning it? You know, and think that in any way that could make you happy. That's what our teacher is asking us here. Stop depending on your perception like that, especially if your perception is not making you happy. And go skip that, what I'm seeing and hearing, and go right to what do I believe about myself? And what do I want to believe about myself? And what is the truth about myself? Let me go ask the horse's mouth. Let me go ask the one who created me. You know, let's depend on that mode. Let's depend on that. Okay, I'm going to go ask my creator, the one who should know, right? I'm going to go ask my creator, what is the truth about me? What am I? What did you create me to be? What is the truth about me? Bye, honey. Happy Mother's Day, honey.
But he doesn't.
What'd you say?
He doesn't.
Absolutely. 100%. That request is always answered. That request is always answered. If you say, God, you're the one who created me. You know what I am, so what am I? Then you are going to be told what you are. And what you will be told about what you are cannot do anything but make you supremely happy.
Yeah.
The truth about you, if you knew it, if you asked the horse's mouth and you believed it, you could be nothing but supremely happy. The truth about you doesn't produce anything but pure joy, deep peace, and limitless release. That's how you know you've heard the truth. If you don't feel deep, pure joy, deep peace, and limitless release, you didn't hear the truth about yourself. Because that's all that the truth about you can produce and will produce. So that's how you know you've heard the truth. Okay. Anything else is just something that you have perceived that fit what you believed about yourself. That's the nature of perception. So stop depending so heavily on your perception and just go straight to what is the truth about me as established by my creator, God, who is love. And any God who is anything but loving, unconditionally loving, that ain't the real God. That's a deep fake. That's a projection. All right. Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. So let's do love offering, and then we'll just take like 2 minutes and do an integration meditation where we take the ideas and just use them. We just be with them for a little while. And I love what George says. George says, to see is not to know. Isn't that a great quote from the Course? To see with your eyes is not to know. Thank you, George, for that.
Well, it's like George from Seinfeld.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. Okay. Okay, and Trisha, it's a great question. Trisha says, how can we free this man on death row? Or how can we free the families affected by this person's mistakes? Okay, great question, Trisha. And the first thing I would say to that is the way that you best can free this man and their family is to remember the truth for all of them silently. Remember that that man is not his body and he cannot die, and he'll get another chance. Bye. So wonderful to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Love you guys. All right. I love it. Trisha says, I don't want to be right. I want to be happy. Beautiful. All right. Okay.
You said that George is saying.
George Alameda said, to see is not to know. So, and that's a quote from the Course. So in other words, to see with your eyes means you're not knowing, you're not having knowledge. Nadeep? Yeah. Okay, guys, so I want you to just breathe, close your eyes if you can. And just rest your mind. And just breathe. And just notice how you feel right now, having heard these ideas. Thank you. All right. So just breathe. Notice how you feel having heard these ideas. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel more hopeful? Do you feel more liberated from fear and guilt? Notice how you feel hearing the truth, even if you don't fully believe it. How does it feel to even hear it? Now, I want you to bring to your awareness a situation or a relationship right now where you are experiencing some form of dis-ease. Not joy, not abundance, but some form of suffering, body, mind, or spirit. I want you to bring that situation or relationship to your awareness. Now, I want you to tell yourself in this situation. Well, first I want you to look at the person or people that are in this situation or relationship where you're not experiencing happiness. And I want you to now do a very brief little inventory of how you have been telling yourself that you are different from these people or from that person. How is it you've been telling yourself you are different from them? And I want you to ask yourself, how is it that I've been telling myself that this problem is different from my other problems? And now I want you to just notice how seeing these differences has made you feel about this person or these people. How has it made you feel? Has it made you feel safe? Has it made you feel connected, happy, supported, connected? Beautiful. Now, I want you to look at this person or these people, and I want you to tell yourself the truth. I want you to tell yourself what I am seeing in them is what I believe about myself. And I want you to tell yourself, I am not seeing their truth and I am not seeing my truth, or else I would be happy right now. And now let's practice asking the source. Let's ask the creator of them and me. Now let's ask our creator, what is the truth about us both that I'm not seeing? God, what is the truth about this person and myself that I am not seeing? What is the truth about them that I'm not seeing? What's the truth about me that I'm not seeing? And God, what is the truth about both of us? How do you see both of us, God? Do you love us both, God? And then let's practice changing our minds to think about them and us like God. God, how would you think about them? What do you think about them and me? And then let's practice changing our mind to think about them and us like our source thinks about us both. Beautiful. Now, how do you feel now, having asked their source how their source, God, feels about them? How do you feel? How do you feel about yourself now? How do you feel differently now in this relationship or situation? Beautiful. Now, I want you to take this feeling that you're feeling that's different now that you are seeing them and yourself the way God sees them and you. And I want you to transfer this feeling to the whole planet. I want you to see everyone on the planet as just like you, completely 100% loved by God. I want you to transfer this feeling of feeling loved by God to all the world, seeing that all the world is the same. God loves every single one of them, just like you. And God misses every one of them, just like God misses you. And God longs for them to return back to the awareness of God's love, just like God longs for you to return back to the awareness of God's love for you. And for a moment, allow all your perceptions of differences to be replaced with the fact of oneness. We are all the same. We are all equally loved, and we are all equally calling for love. We're all the same. We're all equally loved by God and all equally calling for love. The love of God. And see the world just lighting up. See the world, see humanity throwing off its shackles of differences and sin and guilt. See the world lightening, light surrounding the earth. See humanity throwing off the shackles of the sin of differences. See humanity waking up from the sleep, the illusions of separation. And see the light pouring out from each soul, and see the light, which is the love of God, pouring from God onto every soul, every creation. Only light is real. Only love is real. Only the love of God that is everything, that is life, is real. That's it. And when we accept that fact, we will see the real world. With the real world where there is no pain and suffering and no death. No death stalks the real world. And I want you to tell yourself silently, I am the light of the world. With everyone. We are the light of the world. We as one. And the dream of separation is over. Thank you, God. All right, you guys, and we'll just take a deep breath and begin to bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body. Wow. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, for taking your part in the healing of humanity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, guys, for taking your part in the healing of humanity. On behalf of humanity that is dying for the truth that you bring it, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you guys. See you next time I see you. So happy to be you.